Hello to all my FVT women out there. My name is Tanisha. Thank you so much for being here with me on my channel. If it's your first time here, just make sure that you click subscribe down below if you haven't already so you continue to receive my videos. So today's video will be all about hypergamy. For those of you who don't know what hypergamy is, it's basically where a woman would, or even a man would, marry up. So you would marry up a level than what you are currently at, right? Or multiple levels than where you are right now. I'll tell you a story. So when I was about 16 years old, my cousin's grandfather, so not our grandfather together that we shared, but it was her grandfather, said to me one time, you want to be dating and be with a man that is doing more than what you're doing. And that always stuck with me for so many reasons, because I always felt deep down in my heart that I deserved more, that I was a woman that deserved to be with a man that would be a provider. As I started looking more into this topic, I started to notice all these videos on YouTube and all these different blog posts and different things that just covered hypergamy, and the way that it was being done was more so in a non-biblical way. And so I wanted to see if I can cover it in a biblical way for those women that are looking to be Christ-like, but still practice hypergamy. So if we're practicing hypergamy, it needs to be in a godly sense and not solely because of materialistic things. And this is what I'm seeing all over YouTube now. It's just this materialistic standpoint of, give me this, give me that. It's ridiculous. If we're practicing hypergamy, we need to make sure it's not solely because we desire material things, but that we are truly doing it out of love for our husbands, that we're truly doing it because we want a better lifestyle and a better life for our children in the end, and because we want a man that is more spiritual and has a strong relationship with God. A man that has a strong relationship with God can definitely lead a household. So that's essentially what we want to do. When I think of hypergamy in a spiritual sense, I think of a man that is an alpha male, that is a strong man. He wants to lead, and he's also submissive to God. I want a man and a husband that I can submit to because he is submissive to the Lord. Right? So he's supposed to be submissive to the Lord, so the Lord can be the head of the man the head of the wife the head of the children. I wouldn't feel comfortable submitting to any man who did not have a strong relationship with God at all. I just wouldn't do it. So we need to make sure that we are choosing men that are equally yoked spiritually. Another thing we need to remember is that women are not equal to men. We are not. I don't care what anyone says. I believe and I agree with women's rights. I think that we deserve the same pay. We deserve the same rights as men. But as far as physically, we are not equal to men at all. So we want to be with someone that is actually stronger than we are, and that is just more masculine. Okay, so we don't want to be masculine women. We want a real man, an alpha male. Because women are the weaker vessels according to the word. If you read the word and you believe it, then you would know that we are the weaker vessels. Since we do want someone who is physically stronger than we are, and who is not of equal stature to us, but a man that can be stronger and is a provider and that can actually lead a household. So hypergamy would equal a man that has a strong relationship with God that can actually lead us. So we don't want to be equal physically, but we do want to be equal spiritually. So when we are practicing hypergamy, we just want to make sure that we're still practicing it for spiritual reasons and not for materialistic reasons, because a man can be more in love with his possessions than he would be with you, and we don't want someone like that. Most women who practice hypergamy are looking for a traditional relationship. I love traditional relationships. I think that they're awesome and they're amazing, and I truly believe that that is the way that God has made men and women, is for a man to be the provider and for the woman to still be doing her part in making sure that the marriage lasts. So I think that sometimes also with these videos that I've been seeing floating around, it just makes it seem like women are just moochers, and that these women who are practicing hypergamy solely want to sit and do nothing. If we want a high value man, we need to be creating ourselves into and making ourselves to become our high quality woman. So that's not just having high values, but that's also doing the best that we can to make sure that we are women of substance and that we are women of excellence. We don't want to be like super ghetto and just like unladylike. And I'm not saying that you can't be yourself. I'm just saying bring something to the table. Don't just ask and request to marry a man of means if you have nothing to show for it. Whether you're a good communicator or whatever the case is, something besides sex and money. That's not what we want to focus on. We want to focus on how we can create value in this man's life, and that's how a man will choose you for marriage. Being ghetto, cussing a lot, drinking a lot, like, men don't want all that. A real man of a high value is not going to want to marry a woman like that. Think logically about the true reason why you want to be a woman that is hypergamous and practicing hypergamy. Like, truly think about it. It shouldn't be about just the cars and the house and all of these different things that you want to mooch off of a man, but it should definitely be about creating a lasting, loving, godly, God-fearing marriage with a man that is a level up, okay, or multiple levels up. So I'll be reading Esther verse 12. Chapter 1, verse 12, and it says, "But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him." So we need to be submissive. So a man that has a high and really strong relationship with God, a wife would have no problem submitting to him because he just has that really strong relationship and he could actually lead. And a woman would not be afraid or worry that he would be leading her into a life of destruction. So we do want to marry a man that is stronger than us physically, but also equal with us spiritually. So there's another verse that I'm going to go over, and that's in 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 6, and it says, "Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well and are not afraid with any amazement." When we look at the example of Sarah and Abraham, if you look back at it, you go back to Genesis, you'll see through that whole entire book that she is super submissive to her husband and the things that he's requiring of her, and taking his lead always, because he was submissive to the Lord. He told him to leave everything, leave where he had grown up, and just trust in God, and that God will give him all of this land and make sure his seed flourishes. We just need to make sure that we're being submissive to our husbands. We need to be obedient and just preparing on our submissiveness, and just really understanding how we can be submissive and using the Bible for that. Again, we need to make sure that we're valuing ourselves and that we are doing all that we can to level ourselves up first. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, just make sure you subscribe to my channel. I will be uploading videos like this weekly, where I will be showing you how to be feminine, virtuous, and traditional. Thanks so much for watching, ladies. Bye.